I am what I am. What else, man? One would expect these emphatic esoteric formations of the New Age to have adapted their teachings to the findings of modern science. One would hope not to talk about love and persistently show the heart, or when referring to the origin of the qualities that a man carries as instincts, not to place them at the lower part of the spine or in the abdomen. One would have expected to understand the role of brain cells and the individual brain fragments, and to adapt their words to these truths. One would expect to read or study the achievements of modern psychology and to revise the great truths hidden in the texts of esotericism, not by rejecting them, but by placing them on the new foundations. One thing is for sure: the initiatory truths are timeless, and the only changes are the conclusions the modern initiate must draw from them. Nowhere in esotericism is mentioned that the heart is the center of love, and if someone claims so, he has not read the right scripts. The heart is a muscle like a stomach and so many others. As we cannot live without a heart, we cannot live without the lungs, the brain, the skin, and so many other organs that I will not list, since I am not a doctor. So why all the fuss about the various chakras and what lies behind them? I am not rejecting these centers by any means. They are part of our gland system and are rightly considered as centers that need to function correctly. But the heart is not such a center. Rather than the thymus gland, it's not the abdomen, but the adrenal glands and other glands that exist in the central part of our body. Why most of them, nearly all, say that the time has come to raise the level of human evolution from the center of the belly to the center of the heart. Could it possibly be the need for the modern man to move from the conscious level, the instincts rule, to a higher level, so that something else is found at the helm of the human mutation? Are we our hormones, and if so, what should we do? Is it enough to calm our glands? If we are hungry, it makes sense to eat. What if the thing that satisfied our hunger, though, was poison? We would indulge our hunger but die afterward. Scientists in our days speak about the power that the will has to change the brain synapses so that the desired balance is accomplished in the hormonal and not only system of our organism. One would also expect from the initiating groups of the New Age to have shared the importance of the alpha wave activity. Also not to refer to it as a vague vibration, where one must only close his eyes for everything to get in order. What do these waves do, and why are they so important in meditation? Modern scientists are struggling to decipher brain function, and many of them dare to talk about the ghost that lives in the human existence. So, where should the modern seeker focus his efforts? Why do the so-called good deeds help us, while the acts of hatred or evil have negative effects? Why are good deeds sometimes opposite to the imperatives of our basic instincts? The questions of the modern thinker are many, and are directed in both to the initiatory formations and to the scientific community. The time has come for the one group to get information from the other. Scientists should widen the path of initiation with their scientific research, and the initiation study should throw in the trash any old interpretations and adopt the new ones. Unfortunately, the modern scholar is in the middle, and as long as these two ladies refuse to cooperate, he must make this happen himself. Therefore, the evolutionary course is slow and has a lot of backslides. We must therefore concentrate on what Arthur Koestler referred to as phantom in the human machine. In that something that controls the whole, and not just the brain, and through it the human functions as well. This ghost is us. The ego, whose search is beyond the human being, and whose acceptance is our first step. Our identification with this will give us the power to understand our function, so that we can then deal with our evolution. And of course, the proper functioning of our glands is a basic need. But what if this is not possible? What if the thyroid gland is problematic, a common thing in women from a certain age and after? Does that mean that the evolutionary course is forbidding, since the energy center of the throat is that exact gland? If someone believes that, he is a fool. The significant change in the evolutionary area is usually done in the older adults phase, not necessarily of one's life, when the body functions one by one let go. So, I will give you an example that offers a good explanation. If you have an old car and wish to make a long journey, you will not make it. But if you know the exact problem of your car and take all the precautions, it will definitely take you wherever you want to go. If, for example, burns oil, it is advisable to check your oils frequently and to fill with new ones when needed. That means that knowledge is what will carry you to your purpose, and not the vehicle you use. Of course, it has a part, but a suitable vehicle is not a panacea. If we only know how to drive an auto car, and we are given one with a manual transmission, we will dissolve it until we eventually make it work. The knowledge, though, that everyone is so eager to have, is not the so-called wisdom. It is a mixed state of love and wisdom because these two cannot be separated at the cosmic level. We must, therefore, look within ourselves and freed by any limitations that both esotericism and science impose on us, and try to understand the function of man as predicted by the purpose of our creation, and not as an existential end itself. That way we will discover what a human organism is. We will love it for what it offers us. We will stop poisoning it. We will stop destroying our environment, since it is part of our organization. We will stop focusing on empty initiatory actions. Finally, we will stop accepting the disciplines of science literally, unless we are previously sure that they are in keeping with the good of our existence. We have recently mentioned the process of meditation. In my opinion, the only way to achieve this much-needed knowledge of ego recognition. But for God's sake, let's read a book about the process, and not take everyone's word on it. Let us learn how to combine the information that the various bearers give us. Only this way we will have gained, because only this way will we remain free, because without freedom, there is no possibility of the ego being revealed to us. If we know what is happening during meditation, we are conscious, and that is the only testimony necessary to understand that consciousness is all that is required. Everything else comes from the wicked. Before I finish, let's go back to our famous feelings for a while, and let's see what it means to raise consciousness from the center of the belly to that of the heart. If we decipher this sentence, we see it includes the need to control our emotional intelligence rather than suppress it. Our emotions are controlled according to scientists from the brain's amygdala, which is also one of the oldest organs parts of our brain. Our brain is not an organ. It is a sum of areas of different functions, each developed at different times in the long history of man. The time has come to deal with its individual functions, to understand how and why the ego handles this magnificent instrument that makes us such extraordinary individual beings. And I do not mean to gain the knowledge of a scientist, but to know what we as researchers should understand, so that when combining them with our inner knowledge, we can experience the existence of the ego, and therefore be able to say, I am. I am myself using the body as a whole to accomplish the purpose of my being. I am myself using my emotions to experience the expression of the love that moves the universe. I am myself who, by using intellect, I will understand the plan of the creation and realize my position within me. And to finish as I started, I am what I am. Newsflash. For the supremacy, 3 attempts are required: restraint in our body, concentration in our soul, and meditation in our spirit.